And it's now time for SME On Point. We kickstart the year with a locally produced natural skincare range. It was through Onneile Khwene's own challenges with a breakout during a stressful period in her life that led her to coming up with a skincare range that combats acne and pigmentation. This is her story. It's edited by Manqoba Nkosi. After losing her job, the stress effects began to be evident on Onneile Khwene's face. This began to impact on her confidence, which led to her mixing and matching ingredients in her kitchen, determined to find a solution.
Then I started buying different products on the shelf and nothing helped me. And that's when I decided that I'm going to go to the internet and find out what is it that I can use that I don't have to buy, that I can just, mix at home. And that's when I found out that food compounds like your ginger, your cinnamon, turmeric, I remember honey was there, lemon, and then I mixed it together. I created a scrub. Then I applied it on my skin, and after a week, people at the gym, they could tell the difference on my skin. And I thought, oh, okay, then because I don't have a job, why not take this serious? So that's how the journey of Moritelo started.
With this potential solution for herself, others began to want the scrub that's worked wonders for her. Knowing that she needed to conduct proper research before she could go to market, Khwene solicited advice from experts and professionals.
The first program that I entered that really opened the doors for me was the Coach Lab. Here happened in the Innovation Hub, where I had to just tell my story, or rather tell about my product, and they loved my pitch. And as a result, that included me in the bioscience incubation program here happening in the Biopark. And that's when the relationship with universities started, different opportunities being part of SunBio as an African network bioscience that happened for African bioscience entrepreneurs.
Having seen firsthand how skin breakouts rob one of their confidence and impacts the quality of one's life, Khwene says Moritelo is currently targeting teenagers who have the same problem and those who struggle with pigmentation.
So currently we are selling the products to the adolescent stage, which is acne. We do have different, like a combo. So we have a day cream, we have a face wash, we also have a night cream and the serum. Then we also have the pigmentation range. So basically we have two different ranges at this point, but we're looking into having the anti-ranging, we're looking into having other ranges that, when time the brand grows.
Khwene is excited to be part of young African entrepreneurs who are using readily available natural resources to come up with solutions. She says the COVID-19 pandemic has opened her eyes to the benefits of running a business online, and she leaves pearls of wisdom to those who wish to follow her footsteps.
They have to believe in themselves, because there will be a lot of challenges, there will be a lot of criticism, and they must keep consistency. And I also believe that you must never ever let despite the small beginnings. Moritelo started from, kitchen with honey and ginger, but when I look at it today, it just shows me that the consistency, it is what it is. And be teachable, also have a teachable spirit, because you are going to meet different people who are not going to agree with you, and you might feel that, your vision it's been diluted, but you just need to have the teachable spirit.
Liabo Setho, SABC News, Johannesburg. Onneile Khwene says, please do have a teachable spirit. It will take you far. Thank you so much to Moritelo Skincare Range for sharing their story with SME On Point. And as always, we are on Facebook under SME On Point. We'd love to hear your views about our featured business for this week. Since it's the beginning of the year, chances are that your business will need access to funds. And if you're going to borrow money, you can be strategic about it in a way that will build your business in the long term. Alternative lender, fintech lender, Merchant Capital says, in fact, the last thing you should be doing is waiting too long to lend. Let's find out why they say this. Let's chat to Daniel Moritz, who's the Chief Financial Officer at Merchant Capital. He's joining us via Zoom. Daniel, I hope you can hear us. Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thanks for having me again, Liabo.
Daniel, you say that there are certain ways that we could use borrowing and loans in a way that will build businesses. At the beginning of the year, there's a lot of stock taking that we're doing as business owners. You know that you need funding for this, you need funding for that. Take us through some of the ways that we could use as we head into 2021, borrowing wisely for our businesses.
Okay, great. So I think before I start off, it's very important to stipulate why are we borrowing, because there is a lot of great reasons to borrow, but we need to make sure that the timing and the reasons why we're choosing to borrow are appropriate and are going to strengthen our business as opposed to put our business in a vulnerable position. So it's very important that when a business owner takes that decision to borrow in their business, they need to understand what are they using the funding for. And they need to have a concise reason, such as growth, which would be a stock purchase, a new store, increasing their staff, etc. Because if they are putting their funding into growth, they'll have additional profits or revenue that they can use towards repayment of that advance, which will leave their businesses in a much stronger position. However, if they take funding for the wrong reasons and they don't carefully plan on what they're going to use that funding for, they could land up putting themselves in a tougher position than they were before they had the funding, and then they left with the repayment commitment. So I think that concise and detailed planning is very, very important to make sure that the businesses are benefit and are in a much better position post-taking funding.
Yeah, we're talking about positive and negative ways in which credit can be accessed and used. Give us two in which, in a positive way, or is a good reason to take up loan, and two, which is a very bad way or reason to take a loan.
Okay, good. So a positive way would be, as I was saying earlier, to purchase a set of stock or inventory. And by that way, they are able to increase their revenue. So in the event that you were to borrow funding and you use that funding, say you've got a clothing shop and you decide that you're going to borrow 50,000 Rand and you're going to put that 50,000 Rand into a container that you're going to bring in of new clothing.
Okay.
Now, if you know that you can sell that container for 80,000 Rand and you know that the interest on that 50,000 is going to be, for example, 10,000. You know that you've got 50,000 plus your interest of, say, 10,000, which is 60, and then you've got 80 minus 60. You're going to be better off by 20. Yeah. And it's quite useful because the way that we at Merchant Capital have actually designed the product is to fit in with those requirements, in that we charge a fixed markup so that the business owner knows exactly what they are in for. And also the repayment is made in line with turnover. So they get to pay in line with how quickly they sell those clothes that they brought in. Another way of spending of using funding in a positive aspect is to, using that same example, they've got a clothing shop that is in Sandton as an example. Right. And they realize that they've got a whole lot of customers that are coming from the south of Joburg to buy from their shop. But they realize if they open up another shop, they'll be able to increase their turnover. Yeah. So they take funding and they increase their shops so that they've got a footprint in another area. That way, they're using the funding and they're increasing their revenue. And that way, they are more profitable, and the amount of money that they make through their revenue and their profitability will exceed what they have to repay. Yeah. So what we've actually done is we've designed our product to fit into those positive aspects, and the repayments of which are in line with their turnover. So in the event that they open up a new shop or they buy the stock, they would pay us a percentage of whatever card swaps were to go through for that inventory. Whereas if their stock doesn't sell as quickly or their second shop doesn't open as quickly, they pay us slower. Yeah. So it's very important that the kind of funding that you take up has flexibility and transparency, so you know exactly what it means and what your commitments are.
Daniel, I wish we could take this conversation further, but the exciting thing about 2021 is that although we may not have time on air, but we will have time on our Facebook page where we will invite you so we can take further, because unfortunately we are running out of time on this platform. But I do promise our viewers and yourself that we will have this talk further on our Facebook page, which is SME OnPoint. But listen, as always, thank you so much for making yourself available to speak to us on behalf of Merchant Capital, and I wish you a blessed 2021.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure being on the show.
Thanks you so much. Thank you, Daniel. Thanks. That's Daniel Moritz, who's the CFO at Merchant Capital. They are an alternative fintech lender. And as I said to him, that we normally don't have enough time to, go through all the issues here. But that is why we have set up our Facebook page, which is SME OnPoint, where we will be able to take this conversation further this year. But this is all from SME OnPoint for this week. But Nastasia Arendse is coming up after the break, and she's got books on point.